So I noticed that something that happens to me right before I get my period is not just PMS, not just a little bit of irritability, although I certainly get that, and I didn't used to. That just started like 2 or 3 years ago. But in the past maybe 7 months, I experience, before and during my period, crippling self-doubt. Like, not just a little insecurity, not just a little, skepticism, which I have a healthy skepticism most of the time, but it is like I have a voice in my head that tells me, I can't do it. I can't do it. That's it. When I have my period, it is just like about everything is like, oh my God, I can't do it. Like when I am sitting down to paint something, I'm like, I can't. What was I thinking? I'm not an artist. I can't paint. Whatever got me started on this, and why did I ever think that I could paint? I literally will have that thought, and then after my period is over, it goes away, and I like swing to the other side. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the best artist ever. This is so amazing that I chose this to be my path. And so, yeah, I'm trying to think of another example. But if I will have come up with an idea, I came up with the idea to do this podcast a long time ago. Probably before my period. And then what happened one day was I got my period and I was like, oh, I know what happened, because when I got the idea, I made a note for myself, like, do this. This is a good idea. Do a podcast about you just babbling. And, it was fleshed out a little bit more. There was a little bit of detail in there, but that was about my note. And I came across it when I was on my period one day. And I was like, oh my God, was I high? Like, this was the dumbest idea ever. Why would you ever think that anybody would listen to you? I mean, just like the meanest stuff that you wouldn't even tell your worst enemy. And so when I put out this podcast, I was probably on my period. I can't believe I even did it. But I had 2 friends. I had to ask 2 friends to listen to it just to make sure I wasn't crazy for putting it out there. Because, crushing self-doubt. Does anybody else do this to themselves? I mean, I know we all have an inner critic. But, this one is tough to handle. She is a total bitch. And I don't know where she comes from. The thing is, I used to be incredibly insecure. I would say cripplingly insecure when I was young. A teenager, mostly. Yeah, middle school and high school. And then I got over that. And so now I usually feel pretty confident. I know I have some wacky ideas. I know I can be all over the place. But I will go with everything. I am cool to just go with whatever thoughts I have or someone else has or whatever until I get my period. And then it is crushing self-doubt. And the thing is, does it usually stop me? I'm trying to think. I can't think if it usually stops me. I would say that it is probably true that when I experience that, I usually move through it and I come out on the other side with more growth, talent, skills, knowledge than I had before. But I think there have been times that I've just totally quit things, totally stopped doing things because of this self-doubt. that is something that I have done or do in my life. I stop doing things like right before the climax. Not in the bedroom. Perhaps I could stand to do that more in the bedroom. But in life, there was one vacation I took where it was like we would be driving down this road, like a super hilly, crazy mountain road, which like makes me super anxious to drive. I have to drive though. If I'm not driving, I feel like I can't look out the window because I feel like I'm just going to fall off. I can't. It's like too much giving up control to the driver. So anyway, like we were on this mountain road, crazy dirt, pebbles, careening over the edge of the cliff, that kind of road. And I mean, we had probably been on it for like, we were told it was going to be like 6 miles, and we were probably on it for like 5 miles. And I guess I remember thinking, if I had not been told that it was this long, I would have turned around a long time ago. And then we got to the parking lot of where we were supposed to go. We were going to find this waterfall, and we took a trail in, and like it was, I kept, again, we were told it was about 2 miles, but I guess we didn't know what 2 miles was. And so I kept being like, should we just stop here? We can just like dip in the water here. We can take off our shoes and like, go for a little dip. And I did that like right before, and my husband was like, no, this is not the waterfall they were talking about. Like, let's keep going. And literally it was like around the next corner. Same thing with the drive. So the drive to that waterfall was 6 miles, but we drove another drive just like that. And it was like, I don't know, 2 miles. And I was freaking out. I was just starting to get freaked out. And I just had the thought, like, you can't do it. Like, I don't even know what the thought was. Like, it's so, I don't know why. You're almost there, but it's so scary to be on this road that you've been on already for 5 miles. So we're going to just turn you around, back you up those 5 miles with no reward, right? Why would I do that to myself? And so like, I wanted to stop on this road. My husband was like, no, let's just keep going. It's supposed to be here. It's in the freaking guidebook. They wouldn't lie to us. And sure enough, around the next corner, like the most beautiful view of 7 states or something. So I have learned to go through it, but why am I still doing that to myself? That is the question. And sometimes I wonder if maybe I'm just more sensitive to it now, and if that has always been happening and I was ignoring it. This has definitely started to happen since I have started doing like rituals around the cycle of the moon. Magic, weird curses. And so I'm wondering, sometimes I do feel like it is coming up, so it needs to be released. And that is what the woman who I did my yoni steam with the other day, that's what she said. She said, if you are irritable before your period, it is because you have some stuff, it's kind of that irritability is going to be released. And that totally happens. But it is a roller coaster. And it makes me think like, oh, what if this is hormonal too? What if this is happening because it's like premenopausal? And what if this is what girls go through when they are teenagers? If I was not, as wise as I am and going through this stuff, like if I was 13 and feeling this way, I would think, I would either think I was crazy or I would just be so exhausted. I'm already exhausted, but not understanding it. Like, oh my God, is that what we go through as teenagers? If a teenager is listening to me right now, is that what you go through? Listen, if that is the case, you are so not crazy, honey. I'm sorry, I just sounded so condescending, but like, this is what I would want someone to tell me when I was that age. I don't really remember what I thought about myself at that age, but I don't think I was very self-aware. Although I was aware of my emotions, but I would have wanted someone to say to me, listen, like, you are not crazy. You are okay. This is the way the universe works, and this is your gift. This is your gift as a woman on this earth. You have the ability to touch all of these feelings and all of these thoughts and experience all of these experiences. And it's gonna feel crazy, hang on for the ride, but this is your beauty, and there is nothing wrong with that. Cool. This is what makes me me. So I'm going to get to come to grips with that. I'm going to work on that. I am working on, healing that. I don't know if I recognize it for what it is. I feel like I see it so objectively. So then I'm like, why is it affecting me so much? I feel like if I can see it in this way, I should be able to separate myself from it. And I do try practices to feel it, and instead of just shoving it down or separating from it or trying to escape from it, I do practices to like, okay, this is the emotion that this is bringing up, and like really try to feel that and go through that in my body. And that's cool, and it goes away. So it doesn't stay here forever. That is the moral of the story. But yeah, it's just a doozy when it happens. I did just say doozy, and that's probably my sign to sign off. So let me know if this happens to you, or if you have any advice for me in the comments. I would love to read your comments. And that's it. Share this with a friend if you'd like. Give me a thumbs up if you thought it was helpful or not helpful or interesting. And I see you, I hear you, and I love you. Mwah.